a game I enjoy, Diddy Kong Racing. One of my favorite games of all time, and honestly, I think it would be a very, very good game to do my 5-year anniversary on. But I'm holding Glover instead.
Alright, this needs to be something special. Oh, I know what to do.
You know, maybe it's finally time for me to give Mega Man Legends the retrospective it deserves. I've been wanting to do this for years, so maybe now's the time. You know what? The creative juices aren't flowing. I'm just going to watch a video. YouTube's going to help me out. Let's do this.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, a show where we look into the biology of Glover to find out if this little flappy thing at the top is indeed his foreskin.
I can't even sit anymore. Is the universe just trying to tell me something at this point?
Yes.
Corey Matthews from Boy Meets World!
It is I. The universe is trying to tell you something.
You know, you sound an awful lot like Saki.
With it being 5 years of making videos on YouTube, it is time for you to fix a mistake you made long ago. To dive deeper into the lining rather than the tip.
Reword that last part.
The universe is asking you to respect the glove.
Well, that doesn't. What the? Alright, so this is eerily quiet. Am I supposed to like listen to my heart or something, or just
respect the glove?
Oh.
Respect the glove.
Respect the glove.
Respect the glove!
Respect the glove.
Respect the glove.
Respect the glove?
Respect the glove.
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 I swear to God, you better respect the glove right now.
Respect the glove. Respect the glove. Respect the...
Love the glove.
Love the glove.
I'm sorry, what were the last two? Why were those different?
You must review all versions of Glover. Show them what that little white guy can do.
I don't like the last thing you said. But, you know what? Maybe I really do gotta give all the other versions a try. You know what? Maybe Glover isn't as bad as I remembered. Corey Matthews, thank you. You did a lot for me today. And I really want to say great work in Interstellar.
Then all is... Wait, did you seriously think that Corey Matthews from Boy Meets World was Matthew McConaughey?
Be gone, demon!
Alright, you got me. After 5 years, I am finally returning to Glover. Don't say I don't love you, cause I will find you. Now, I obviously have some history with the Nintendo 64 version, but half of you didn't watch that video, so let's just ignore that. I've never played the PC or PlayStation 1 version of Glover, and not only that, but for some reason, God decided...
Yeah, Glover should make a comeback on your 5th anniversary on YouTube. You're welcome.
And so we got the Steam version too. I kid you not, I was planning on making the ultimate Glover video for over a year now, and here we are. Thought I only had to play it 3 times, but nope, we're doing 4, I guess. But, I'm just gonna wipe the slate clean. I'm gonna ignore all my previous thoughts and go in head empty. Maybe I was at fault. Glover isn't a bad game. I am the flawed one. So back in the 90s, the king of games was the 3D platformer. Of course, you had your Super Mario 64s and Banjo-Kazooies, games that focus on the enjoyment of exploration and discovery while including challenging obstacles and puzzles to get to your objective. But you also had your Bubsy 3Ds and Bugs Lifes. Seriously, screw this game, it's disgusting. Games that were platformers but didn't understand what made platformers fun. They just threw collectibles out there with easy platforms to jump on, brain empty stuff. And there were a few hidden gems out there like Klonoa and KO the Kangaroo, but one thing you might have noticed with all these is that they're animals, or furries. Mario's a furry. There became such an oversaturation of 3D platformers that it became hard to stick out. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie, so developers had to think of a way to stick out amongst the crowd. So Hasbro decided to make a game about a glove that instead of, having to platform to get collectibles, you would have to navigate levels with the collectible. And so they developed their game around that thought process. They wanted to make a game full of ball physics and wanted to make a creative 3D platformer that would stick out. And let me tell ya, it sticks out. But that's enough history. Give the cartridge a quick blowy with Avril Lavigne playing in the background. And we're off. I'm already getting flashbacks. The title screen is pretty okay, nothing special, honestly. There's a little bop going on in the background while you make your save file, but yeah, that's about it. Glover starts off with a cutscene of this dude named the Wizard. What, you couldn't call him like Keith or something? Dicking around and throwing potions, cork and all, into this cauldron. Obviously this is a bad idea, and whatever the piss was in these turns him into stone, and the dude goes crashing through his oddly very empty castle. One glove flies into the cauldron, and the other is somehow yeeted 67 yards out the window. Little dude wakes up and sees these crystals all around the castle get yeeted as well. I guess they're important, because Glover freaks out and transforms them all into these balls that bounce into the, worlds of this place. I don't know. Glover gets teabagged, and then a quick shot to the cauldron to see none other than the main antagonist, Cross Stitch. Oh, so you can name him, but not the Wizard. You literally gave everyone else a name but the Wizard. Like, sure, spookiest name you can come up with for a glove, but your creative juices apparently hit a wall when it came to naming the Wizard. You're introduced to the hub world, and I gotta say, I'm actually kind of impressed with its atmosphere. The sky is filled with this red fog, and the only thing you can hear in the background is the cawing of crows. And Cross Stitch's laugh, his laugh has stuck with me through all these years. See, look, I can say nice things about Glover. Before you start your adventure, you're informed by this thing named Mr. Tip that he's able to teach you about the game and how to play. I just have one small issue. Hold the piss up! You can give a name to this Mr. DNA reject, but you can't give a name to the Wizard. What is wrong with you? I don't understand that. What was your thinking process? You could literally just name this guy Keith and you're fine. Sorry, look, they did my dude the Wizard dirty. I am irrationally angry about this. So the point of Glover is to bring those ball crystals back to the castle. Why are they so important? The piss if I know. Where did his hands go? Why is he pissing out of his handholds?
The hussy.
Did he never have hands? Is his hand inside Glover? Is the Wizard's hand Glover, not the actual glove? I don't understand. You can go down this well and do a whole tutorial on how the mechanics and physics work, but I'm a Glover master who doesn't need that crap, so I'm just starting at Atlantis. So, Glover is a platformer. He controls pretty alright in all honesty, however he does feel a little slow. That's really my only complaint. When you're Glover, everything is fine, until you get your Dorito encrusted hand on the ball. There's an off feeling to the ball controls. See, the developers wanted to think outside the box when it came to a 3D platformer. So instead of using an animal as their mascot who could use their animal powers to get around, they decided to base this game around the physics of a ball. Rather than just jumping onto ledges or platforms, you can either dribble your way up or toss the ball up. There is this little dotted line guide that shows you the arc of your throw and how it will initially bounce, but it doesn't show the whole thing. It only takes into equation the first bounce or two, so you toss your ball only to watch it roll off the edge or bounce a few more times and smack into the wall and come flying back at you. Don't get me wrong, smacking and throwing a ball around is a cool way to get around. It's a cool concept, but it's still very hard to get used to the controls no matter how long you've played. Unless this is your favorite game, then you're a psychopath who has learned how to drive a car using nothing but chopsticks and a gun. The level designs do work in favor of this choice though, for better and worse. You're able to change the ball into 4 things. Bouncy ball, fun for throwing and smacking.
Harder, daddy.
A bowling ball that's, for some reason, like 5 foot tall. It's a little slow and you're not really going to be able to dribble it, but you can smack it into enemies to stun or kill them. But usually stun them because, not many enemies can die in this game. It can also be used for some puzzles and sink to the bottom of water. Then you got this little boy, a marble. This little homie is fast and magnetic, and that's really about it. Yeah, nothing else. And finally, the absolute worst choice, the crystal. You want to know what this thing's special ability is? It breaks. Yeah, drop it, bounce it, smack it, gyrate on it at the speed of 0.3 miles per hour, it breaks. And then Glover lets out one of the most revolting cries I've ever heard. But in all honesty, the main point of using the crystal is to double your score while grabbing these garabs? Garabs? I thought they were called cards. Maybe it's a kind of tarot card. That makes sense to my brain, and it's not. You decide to give a fancy made-up name to the cards, but you can't even call the Wizard Keith? Sorry. I'll let that go. Eventually. So to progress the game, you have to get the ball to the end of the level. There are some puzzles here and there that you have to figure out in order to reach it, but honestly, the biggest struggle in the game is the physics of the ball. Like I said before, running around as Glover himself isn't bad, it's just whenever you grab the ball that everything else goes downhill, which is like 98% of the game. While rolling the ball around, there's too much momentum. You can't stop quickly or turn as fast as you want to, which can lead to some very frustrating moments. Bouncing the ball also has this kind of delay to it. Like, you go to bounce it, but it won't start bouncing until Glover finishes his jump. So more often than not, your momentum is going to carry you farther than Creed.
I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm thinking.
The controls do get easier the more you use them, but it does feel like you're constantly fighting the game. The most glaring example of this is when you hop on the ball while it's on top of water. The controls are reversed. Why did you reverse the controls when Glover's on the ball? It doesn't make any sense. Alan, it's for physics. No, you don't get to use that excuse. Like, you're going towards the ball to jump on it, you're pushing up on the joystick. So why did they think reversing the controls the moment you touch the ball was a good idea? Like, seriously, it's so disorienting. I hate it. And the more I'm playing, the more I realize that not every dribble has the same height. Like, you might be a bit short on a dribble jump because why not? Timing doesn't even work with these dribbles either. It's a constant fight to get the ball anywhere. It's fighting the freaking controls more than anything else in the game. It's like Glover looked at the controls of the likes of Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie and decided, oh, these control so well. Let's not do that. Okay, sorry. I will stop complaining about the controls for a little bit. But you're not off the hook just yet. I didn't really realize this before, but there are some absolute bangers when it comes to the soundtrack. Atlantis Level 3 has an upbeat vibe to it. I really dig the bass riff in Pirate Level 3, and Prehistoric Level 1 is a bop and a half. That song gives me, like, the biggest Spyro the Dragon vibes. Why did I just compare Spyro to Glover? What is wrong with me? However, outside of a few songs, the soundtrack is pretty okay overall. Like, it's not bad by any means, but the soundtrack also doesn't have a single song I would add to my 3 AM video editing playlist. So, yeah, soundtrack's pretty mid. Once you complete all 3 levels of a realm, you fight a boss that Cross Stitch creates because, why the piss not, I guess? Now, these bosses are pretty generic and weird, in all honesty. We got Red Lobster Totem Pole, a clown, T-Rex with dope shoes, and Manson Incarnate. With each boss is a type of puzzle you have to figure out in order to beat it. Most puzzles are pretty easy, whereas others lean more on the difficulty side. T-Rex dude is easy, you just smack a ball down the snowy slope and watch the dude blow up. But then you have the clown boss, which took me a little longer than I like to admit. You know, Glover, this boss would be a lot easier if you figured out how to turn these crystals into a gun. Also, why the piss is Cross Stitch even doing this? Like, I get that he wants to stop Glover, but why? What is Cross Stitch even doing? What does he want to do? Just to keep the wizard stoned? Why are the crystals even important? What do they even do? I don't understand. Mr. Tip trauma dump me or something. I need to know what the piss is going on. Glover can be annoyingly difficult to the point where it feels like you have to use cheat codes to progress the game, or else you'll be met with so many game over screens it'll be embedded into your eyes. Oh, you don't want to use your Windows 98 Gateway family computer to look up the cheat codes? No worry, this bird will tell you them. Yeah, this disgusting creature over here actually gives you cheat codes to use in the game. I hate it here on God. Including infinite lives and even invincibility. Though, ironically enough, that's kind of a lie. See, Glover will be invincible, he won't die. But your ball, if that thing gets hit too much or, you break it as a crystal, you die. I kind of love and hate that if I'm being completely honest. It's like, yeah, that's on brand for Glover. Speaking of damage, I really like how the ball flies away once it's been hit. That can lead to some pretty funny deaths in all honesty. I also really dig that the more hits the ball takes, the more bandages it has on it. Glover has 6 realms to play through as you try to bring balls and peace back to the kingdom. You begin the game in Atlantis. Interesting choice to start your game off with the water levels. Usually you want to save those satanic things for the middle of your game, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hate these levels. So that's a huge plus because I typically despise water levels outside of the transcendent masterpiece as Coral Capers. After fighting Red Lobster, you bring the crystal back and watch the overworld change a little bit. Glover does a good job early on giving you a terrifying hub world. Cross-Stitch's laughter, the red fog, the red tint, it felt like a portal to hell opened up. Admittedly, I really like how the hub world gets better the more you progress the game. You didn't really see this often in games back then. Changing the hub world due to advancing and progressing to the next realm was a nice feature that made you feel like you were making a difference in the world, and that smacking balls into oblivion really had a reason after all, even though I disagree with that last part. The second realm, a carnival-themed realm, is just the level embodiment of vomit. From the music to the sound effects to the level design to Mr. Chicken Cock over there, the circus level is by far the worst in the game and was a leading reason for depression back in 1998. It is throw up in a bag. Though this is where they started to show off some clever puzzles like using this magnet to grab the metallic marble ball. Yeah, that's the only nice thing I have to say about this realm. This level also showcases one of the game's biggest issues, its camera. Similar to other Nintendo 64 games, the camera can be awful at times, like getting stuck on walls. Rather than, programming a way to not get the camera locked on an obstacle or having better level design where the camera doesn't jerk around, they decided to say, screw it, go have fun. We'll get rid of some walls and stuff. Sure, it doesn't really fix the shaky camera, but it won't get stuck at least. Often. Okay, so this isn't a prevalent problem, but it has led to some cheap and annoying deaths for me. So I just had to talk about it a little bit. You might not run into that problem. I did a lot, so yeah. The third realm is Pirate World? You already did the water level. Why are you doing it again? This realm was pretty boring overall. Nothing stuck out other than having to wait for platforms. Also, apparently the realm's boss's name is Spanky, and that alone makes this the best realm in the game. Up next is the prehistoric realm that has that banger song. Honestly, this is my favorite realm, despite me having some pretty frustrating deaths near the lava. This realm also has a Triceratops that's hazardously horny for Glover. One look at him and the primal instinct hits her, to the point where she screams, I want to have sex with that glove. This chaos leads up to the boss, a T-Rex in shoes. Also, you're probably watching these gameplay clips and wondering why I'm not going for the Garibs. Well, that's simply because there's no freaking point. As a platformer, you want to collect all the things to gain rewards. In Glover, they said, screw that, you don't deserve anything. You can get a higher score by collecting these Garibs with the ball as a crystal, or, completing the level with the ball as a crystal as well. So why collect the Garibs like that? What happens if you beat every level like that? You don't get dick! Okay, well that's not entirely true, but it might as well be. If you collect all the Garibs in a realm, you unlock these bonus levels, but they're kind of booty cheeks. For example, the first realm's bonus stage has you play a mini game where you're a reject Frogger. Kind of ironic because this team made Frogger 2. And that's where I stopped, to be honest with you. I wanted to save collecting all the Garibs for my PlayStation run, so I'll talk about this more in that section because I'm very, very certain that something awful is going to happen. I just feel it. Now we on to Spoopy time. This realm, the Fortress of Fear, had a bit of a difficulty spike in all honesty. There were some enemies that felt like they would hit you no matter how you navigated or tried to evade, but the absolute worst part about this level is the freaking boss. So you have to fight this Frankenstein monster, and you have a top-down view during this entire fight. You have to climb up these pillars, smash them down, and make a path up to this button up here. Seems simple enough, but the depth perception is so off, you'll often make mistakes because it can be difficult to see how high or low these pillars are. And not only that, you have to navigate the ball up these pillars, which I should be good at now after smacking my face with these controls over the past 2 hours, but this Frankenstein monster can do this electric attack that instantly kills your ball. So often, you'll toss your ball away if you can't get to the next platform in time, leading to the ball bouncing around on the ground, so you gotta hope you get there in time before Frankenstein touches it, and even then, if you get there first, he can still use his electric attack, and you're dead. It's dead. Bada bing, bada boom. I hate this boss so much. This is one of the worst bosses in all of video games. I cannot imagine trying to beat this boss without infinite lives. I would rather play through all of Shamu's Deep Sea Adventure again than try to beat this boss with only 5 lives. So the final level is Spaceland? We got a wizard and magic, but instead they decided to make a carnivore world and 2 water-based worlds? Alrighty then. So in this realm, you'll notice that the balls act a little differently. Well, that's because we in zero gravity. So, yeah, more weird ball physics. The difficulty feels like it spiked once again here, but thank God for cheat codes. I appreciate you, big man. You get your final confrontation with Cross-Stitch, a duel of the ages. In these mechs? Yeah. So the final fight is shooting balls at Cross-Stitch. Why am I throwing balls at him? I thought the whole point of this game was to protect these things, but now I'm supposed to use them as ammunition? What is this? Alright, so beat Cross-Stitch, free the wizard, take away Cross-Stitch's free will, finger gun, end game, roll credits. Yeah, so Glover on the Nintendo 64. Still just as bad as I remembered. But I can also see why people liked and appreciated it, as weird as that may sound. Glover sticks out compared to a lot of 3D platformers, and that's because it didn't try to follow the formula placed before it. It instead tried to stick out for better and worse. And I can commemorate that thought process because it obviously left its mark on the gaming world, becoming that of a cult classic to many people. There are some really cool ideas in this game, there's no denying that, but cool ideas don't always equal fun. And the ones that do equal fun, well, you still gotta execute them properly or else it's gonna be missed potential, which Glover has a lot of. But who knows, maybe the PC version will change my mind and fix some of the issues I have with the game. But we're not doing that yet. We're doing the PS1 version next. I've heard so many terrible things about this version. I've really been looking forward to it. What the piss is wrong with me? Alright, so last time you start the game off with the God, no. Yeah, so the PlayStation 1 version of Glover's intro was actually set to full motion video, and it's absolutely disgusting. This has not aged well. Excuse me! They also changed how the accident happened? Apparently this glove was always evil then? And he sabotaged the wizard to turn the dude into stone, and then go into the cauldron to change how he looked? What? I don't have the PlayStation 1 case, but I looked up the manual and it also says that Cross-Stitch only became evil because of the accident. What the piss was this? Oh, this looks bad already. Okay, well, maybe. Then again, I should compare it to games back then rather than how it looks now. Like, the images on this manual don't look too bad. In fact, the PlayStation 1 version looks pretty in screenshots, but as you start to move around, the performance issues start to flare up like your grandma's knee problems. Wait, where's Mr. Tip? Is the dude not even in this? Did they kill him off? I do appreciate that they changed up the look of Glover and even added some stuff to do in the hub world. However, I'm not really too fond of how everything looks. I know I'm being harsh with the PlayStation 1 graphics. I mean, many games I loved back then look rough or even similar with the pixels like Ape Escape. Bring my boys home, Konami. But there's just something unnatural about this version, and it takes away some of the charm that the Nintendo 64 version had. Some character designs just don't look good with this coat of paint. This is Dollar General brand Glover, though some of the landscapes do look better on the PlayStation 1. Some of them. Oh, they also took out a lot of the fog in some of these realms too. That's a big plus. This version's controls feel so sluggish and unresponsive, even more so when compared to the other versions of Glover. There's always been a delay with jumps and using the ball, but this feels like there's a delay on top of that delay. There were moments where the timing of bouncing the ball was off. Like, I would try to bounce the ball once, but because the timing is so wonky, it would bounce twice, leading to the ball going to an instant-death pit or void or lava, wherever, it would just be done. There seems to be no rhyme or reason as to why Glover decides to dribble the ball more times than you want him to. He just does. Glover has gained sentience in the PlayStation 1 version. Not only that, but Glover runs worse on the PlayStation 1 than the Nintendo 64, and the PlayStation 1 version came out a year later. How do you screw it up that bad? I will say two good things about this version though. Number one, the Frankenstein boss is better and easier. Thank you for this. The second good thing is, yeah, that's all I got. Like I said earlier, I was gonna try to collect all the Garibs this playthrough, and this was the biggest mistake of my life. It took so much time and patience to try and get most of these, and throw in that the devs decided to hide a crap ton of them as well. Some hidden Garibs feel cheap and just make searching for them so tiresome and unfun. In games like Banjo-Kazooie, you could find all the collectibles in your first run. Sure, some were difficult to find, but it involved you looking everywhere and platforming around. In the case of Glover, however, it feels like the devs just said, "Hey kid, smack the ball into this pillar that has no cracks on it. Also, put the ball near this wall that has 0 clues as to it being something you can get on top of, and then ground pound onto the ball to get up onto it. Also, we didn't even teach you the ground pound mechanic yet, so piss off, you suck for not knowing this. Thanks for letting us ruin your childhood." You have to get all these collectibles in one go, or else they'll reset the next time you enter. In easy mode, however, you can push the R button and it'll point you to where these collectibles are. But the whole point of these collectibles was to open the bonus rooms. So what does easy mode decide to go do? Get rid of them! That's the most asinine thing in the world to me. The whole point of getting these collectibles was to open the bonus levels, and now you're locked out of them because you couldn't figure out where they were, so you figured, oh, well, you have a pointer button, might as well use that. Well, screw you, apparently. You don't get the bonus levels because you used the button we gave you, but we only gave you it in easy mode because we knew it was hard to do, so like, some of these are in places you need a guide for. There wasn't even an indication I could break this wall down. Okay, yes, you can collect enough of these things to gain lives, but use cheat codes, man. It's not worth having finite lives. So the main point of getting these scarabs is to, again, open up these bonus levels, and it is not worth it. Most of these bonus levels are pretty much mini games, and again, they're booty cheeks. I already brought up Reject Frogger, but they don't get much better after that. After doing it for like 3 realms, I quit. I could not do it anymore. There's so much waiting around in Glover as is, and trying to get these scarabs, multiply that by like 3. It clearly felt like padding. Glover single-handedly made me, a collectathon whore, not want to collect things. I'm gonna put this in the simplest terms possible. I freaking hate this version. I cannot stand it. Glover on the PlayStation 1 is simply an awful, awful time. I feel bad for kids who got this as their first 3D platformer. If my parents did that to me, I would commit arson at least twice a year just to feel something. No, this is a joke. Please do not commit arson. But if you are a parent who did this to their child, apologize to them right now. They are in therapy because of you. The controls are frustrating, its level designs are unfair, it looks disgusting. I absolutely hate this version. I am now forever pissed because of PlayStation 1 Glover. I'm not just saying this to be funny or anything. The PlayStation 1 version of Glover is honestly one of the worst games I have ever played. I would rather play Shamu again. All I feel is hate. So let's play the PC version now. We're gonna try the OG PC Glover before we try the Steam one. I was told that this is the best version of Glover, so let's see if this fixes some of my complaints. Hey, Future Wolf here. Those people that told me that, yeah, they lied. Now back to Past Wolf. Off the bat, I am glad that I'm able to change the keys for the controls. I can't tell you how annoying some of the default keys were, so that's a huge plus for me. Wait, what? Where's the intro? Where's Glover messing around with the logos and stuff? I didn't skip it. Maybe the PC version just didn't have it. Weird, but whatever. Let's just... Oh! Okay, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I'm glad. I am so glad that the PC version, for some reason, doesn't have a cutscene. We're off to a great start. Oh, this looks disgusting. This looks like an unfinished beta. Everything is just... ew. Thanks, Glover, you somehow ruined eyesight for me. So for the PC version, you use the keyboard for the controls, and I'm not gonna lie, they feel a little janky. Like, I feel like I have a little more control while moving the ball around or just moving around as Glover, but when it comes to bouncing the ball, there's a weird delay. And it's not like the other delays I've talked about, this one's different. It baffles me how one game was able to figure out so many different ways to make a delay. Congrats, I think. Not only that, but you can't control the camera. There are 0 buttons you can use to control the camera. I literally mashed my face against my keyboard just to try and feel something. I won't lie though, the PC controls aren't too bad outside the weird bouncing delays and no camera control. I still think the Nintendo 64 version has the best controls out of all of them, but I definitely feel like I have more control of the ball with the keyboard, if that makes any sense. Whew. The PC's frame rate is somehow worse than the Nintendo 64 version. That's extremely surprising to me. The draw distance is also the worst compared to the other versions too. They got rid of the fog, which helped mask this, so crap just appears out of thin air. This can get... Alrighty then, I guess I'll just restart the game. The music is also kind of booty in this version. It's like they put these songs through a wood chipper and then paste them in. It hurts my ear a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But with that said, the game gets eerily quiet as well for almost no reason. Yeah, I got nothing else when it comes to the sound. It is what it is. Alright, let's try this. Yeah, so apparently you can't advance forward in the game because you need this potion to complete the level. And the game crashes every single time you touch it. I tried looking up any patches for it, but they've all been taken down. I even used whatever the piss machine thing this thing is called, and it still wouldn't run. They shipped out a product that can't be finished. Maybe this is why they included cheat codes, because they knew you couldn't beat this game otherwise. Oh wait, the C-stick button can't go up for some reason. I can't use the up arrow to open up the level, so it looks like I'm screwed. Yeah, so you cannot grab this power-up, else the game crashes like I said. Then how the piss am I supposed to move the... Oh, I guess they didn't program that I needed the potion? Weird, but okay. No, I'm not giving them any credit. It's a bug. Alright, I'm back on the Glover Road, unfortunately. And this game is just not good. I think it's better than the PS1 version, so that's a positive, I guess. This game chugs along, and the graphics look pretty rough despite not having the same limitations that the Nintendo 64 had. I looked up some info about this version and found out that apparently Glover was built solely for the Nintendo 64 processor. So all the physics and polygons were designed for that. When it came time for the PC and PlayStation 1 versions though, rather than building for their processors, they just patched some things up. I'm not sure how true this is, mind you, but it would make sense for the PC version. Not sure I personally believe that for the PlayStation 1 version because it took them a whole other year to release it and it came out worse! Sorry, let's actually talk about the PC version. Again, it's not good. Having these super specific controls stuck on a keyboard somehow made them worse. Like trying to dribble the ball correctly is a constant battle, and platforming with this thing is simply not good. Just no, bad, very bad. Do you ever feel like there's a war waging within yourself? I feel that now, but Glover's in there somewhere, and I want him dead. There's really not much else to talk about with the PC version. Runs poorly, looks like puke, and makes me hate being alive. And we are finally at the end. One final Glover to look at. The Steam version. Yeah, this kind of sprung out of nowhere, and then everyone and their mother told me to review it, so here I am. Time to finally Oh, you gotta be pissing my nuts. The Steam version comes with a port for the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 1. I have 2 more! So a quick preface, these aren't full-on quote-unquote ports. These are ports of the emulated Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 1 versions of Glover. I mean, sure, they have like the source code in them, but like they're not built from the ground up. I had some friends think that this was a remaster / remake, and that's just not the case. So, you know, if you're thinking that, don't. Anyway, time to boot up the Steam N64 port. I screwed up that sentence. Whatever, let's go. So they got rid of all the old logos like Hasbro. I get that Piko Interactive now owns the rights to Glover, but I don't know, man. I'm just not a fan of completely ignoring the creators of Glover. I mean, you could have just added your logo rather than take everything else out. Also, the logos and words are pretty bare bones. It feels like someone fixed this up in like a day or two. Make my save file, get to the cutscene, Oh, this is going to be one of those kinds of games. Yeah, so immediately there were audio glitches, and they just kept coming. This port is a buggy mess all the way around. Most notably are the audio bugs, but there's a good amount of visual and gameplay ones, and the controls are bad. Surprise of the frickin' century. But this feels worse than the PC version I was just complaining about. It feels like you're constantly fighting the terrain. Sure, there was always a little pushback when it came to inclines, but it feels like these are cliffs and you gotta jump over them or get a running start to move over them. Momentum is one of Glover's core gameplay elements, and yet somehow, this port decided to turn the difficulty up. I didn't even know that was possible with inclines. Glover is locked in at 20 frames per second, which is a little disappointing. I mean, you can change it technically, but every bug I mentioned shifts into maximum overdrive. Hi-ya! So you're basically stuck at 20 frames per second, or you're left with an even bigger unplayable mess. And when these bugs have been brought up in the Piko Discord, it gets pushed aside for, well, that's how the original version was. No! I have played all 3 other versions of Glover before this. I have played through the Nintendo 64 version, the PlayStation 1 version, and the PC version, and there were none of these issues. The water wouldn't turn into a different color, the sound effects didn't just randomly play, the walls didn't just disappear, the C button actually works! Yep, that's right folks, the C button input doesn't work. You can't even do the up arrow, so any cheat codes with the arrow you can't even use. Like, look at this mess. I am trying to do this correctly, but for some reason 2 button inputs always stay on the menu even if you close out of it. Look, I may not like Glover on the Nintendo 64, but it was not a buggy mess like this. So don't come at me with that crap. You can tell that this is just an emulation rather than an actual reworking with the source code. Like, don't get me wrong, Glover and the ball look pretty great in this, but every boss or enemy or even landscape takes a few steps back. Oh, and the crystal, they didn't even try with that. Simply put, don't buy this version. You are getting a poor man's Nintendo 64 version with some bugs and messy controls. I haven't played an emulated version of Glover, but I imagine it plays better than this. Hey, that's another version you should— I will end you. Steam, PS1, let's end this nightmare. Oh, just a straight up border around the game. Neat. So, fun recording note, when I went to record this game, it somehow turned the footage upside down and then mirrored it. Whether I did the screen, game, or window, it did it every time. I'm not sure if it's just my software acting up or if it's Glover itself. It just felt like bringing this note up in case anyone else has had this problem, or maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe both. Make a save file, crunchy cutscene, and yeah, we start the game. It doesn't look bad thus far when compared to the PS1 version, which is surprising. No visual bugs, no audio bug. We're off to a much better start than... How the piss do I move? Oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. So you gotta use the directional pad rather than the analog stick to move. It's kind of weird at first, but you get used to it. Again, no control over the camera and no surprises there, but the button inputs are wrong. Okay, so I'm using the Xbox One controller, right? So to jump, it says X. When looking at the PlayStation controller, I can deduce that the A button is what I need to push, which is correct. So that means the square button would be the X button, right? That's how the layout works, but no, square means Y. Right bumper means L1. Right analog stick means R2. Circle is X. You get the idea. Everything that is supposed to work when looking at the layouts doesn't work. You couldn't program the buttons to match what the Xbox controller has? And now we're back to momentum being stronger than it should be in this version. Great. No, I love that for me. Anyway, music is actually much better in this when you compare it to the N64 port version. Actually, so are the sound effects. So no complaints there. But the frames. My word, the frames. They are dropping and slowing down constantly. I am fighting to beat this game, and I just can't. It stutters, and since you have no room for error, you're just donezo once this happens. Depth perception is terrible. It's just a prettier port of the PS1 version of Glover with the controls screwed up. There's nothing else to talk about. I don't have anything else to say about this version. I just want to end my suffering. Well, guys, I tried. I tried my best to respect the glove, but I got slapped in the face so many times. But with that said, I can still see why not only this game stuck out, but why people liked it. Creativity is huge for Glover. There's a lot of interesting concepts to the game, and there's different ways you can traverse through the levels. And the designers knew that. Though that doesn't mean they were all ironed out, but the potential was certainly there. Hasbro was also working on a sequel, Glover 2, and look, I know this is gonna sound weird after I spent however long bashing this game, but Glover 2 actually looks good. Glover 2 somehow looks so much better than the completed Glover game. The beta for an unreleased game looks better than all 4 versions of Glover, which I guess isn't saying much because freaking Mega Man Soccer looks better than this. It looks like there was more story and characters involved in Glover 2. I actually wanted to check out Glover 2 for this video, but yeah, that's not happening apparently. There you go. You wanted to watch me suffer, and I did. I played Glover 4 times, and now I'm scarred for life. You're welcome. I don't have any clever quips to say. I am emotionally dead. I love you all. Take care, and hope to see you in the next video. I hate this game.
I have here Volume 1 of Why Sean Needs to Hurry Up and Respect the Glove. Chapter 1.
Hey dude, just wanted to say congratulations for 5 years on YouTube, and to think it's because you think Glover is the greatest game on Earth. I want to honor that respect and show you how much I respect Glover by having him permanently tattooed on my body. This isn't a bit. Respect the glove.